We are in a situation right now where we're looking toward the midterms, but we're also looking more generally at what's happening with the economy. We've seen, the stock market has had a couple of down days because of, what's coming out of the Fed. It's easy to get distracted by Mar-a-Lago. When you step back to the overall picture of how the country is feeling about the current president and the current economic situation, what are you seeing in general around the chatter in Washington?
It's all on Trump. To be honest with you, it is Trump is
The
once again,
soap opera wins.
he's sucking the oxygen out of the room. I mean, I've been focusing on that all the time. It's also my job, but I went to the grocery store last night to go shopping. I bought a what was supposed to be a day or two's worth of groceries. I paid what would usually be like 4 or 5 days worth of money for them. And yeah, I was like thinking about it. And then I came home and went back to thinking about Trump again. The loan forgiveness was certainly a distraction from that, and people are thinking about it. Whether that holds any sort of sway in the midterms is going to depend on when voters feel that and when they see all that paperwork getting processed and actual forgiveness. But I mean, right now it is Trump.
And when we talk about sort of this push for legal action, this push for potentially criminal charges, and this concern around the long-term consequences of that, let's not necessarily project, who wins or loses. But is that really a path that you think we're continuing to go down with all this discovery, or is it really about embarrassing the president and trying to shift support, away from him at the very least?
I think it's on par with what you see in these countries that have civil wars or dictatorships, and afterwards they have like a truth and reconciliation committee. And I think that's what we need to know. We need to have it thoroughly documented what took place during the Trump administration, and not just for any sort of electoral gains. I mean, the Republicans who've been going against Trump have not, Liz Cheney didn't experience any electoral gains, but it needs to be documented. We need to know what's happening, and future Americans need to know what's transpired. And this is one of those moments where history is being written. A lot of times you don't know it in the moment. It comes back years later. Oh, that really was a big deal. And no, right now, I mean, we are seeing monumental historical implications taking place at Mar-a-Lago.
A Truth and Reconciliation Commission usually takes place after the person in question is fully out of office. Maybe they're facing the International Court of Justice, but it's rarely when they are about to run for office again. And then it becomes a more politicized exercise. Does the timing of this in any way neuter the impact of what we're actually discovering? Because we do have somebody who's gearing up his candidacy again.
I don't think so. I mean, you've got to do this stuff, while the body's
real time. Yeah,
you can't just wait and give them more time. And their Department of Justice is saying he tried to obstruct it already. So giving him more time would be more time to obstruct. They had a whole litany of different delays that Trump and his attorneys have used to keep kicking this down the road. So I think it needed to be done immediately. And honestly, I don't think it matters for Trump supporters. They were going to support him no matter what. So he's not losing any of his base. There's some people on the fringes, but I don't think it really changes much whether you do this now or do this, once he was no longer a contender for coming back into the presidency.